K.Michelle exposes Shamea, Porsha's son Shamea, and it is quiet on the creek on all of Shamea's lies, y'all. We got to get into it. Hey there, it's Anonymous Tea, where we spill the tea anonymously. Hello, 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 everyone. Hello, YouTubers. Hope you guys are all having an amazing day today, sending good vibes, sending positivity, sending blessings, and good energy to each and every single one of you. Thank you so much for tuning in. So, anything I say is alleged and in my very, very personal opinion. This is for entertainment purposes only. None of this is personal. The Copyright Act of 1976 is in the description box. Some meat and potatoes, some housekeeping items. So today we are talking Real Housewives of Atlanta, season 17. And I just want to talk about a couple things for the reunion part 2. This is not a full-on review or anything like that, but there were a couple things that stood out to me, and this is not a good reunion for Kelly or Shamea at all. The biggest problem that Kelly has is she's going to be 10 toes down for one person that she is benefiting from. Last season, it was Britt Edie. This season is Shamea. So with that logic, it is at some point going to fall apart, right? Ultimately, we did not get a name of who the alleged married pastor was. Porsha did do a lie detector test and passed with flying colors, and all of a sudden, Kelly don't want to talk no more and just wants to call Porsha a bimbo. And then wants to have the energy, the same thing she did with Angela Oakley, making a fraudulent coupon code. Now she wants to make a Porsha coupon code. But it takes one to know one, you know what I'm saying? That's why you had so much energy, because you didn't want it out there. You don't want your tea out there. See, y'all want Porsha to be the face of the only housewife on Atlanta to lie, the only housewife to allegedly, you know what I'm saying, have multiple sexual partners and all this and all that. Y'all want that to be her so bad. But ultimately, Porsha has admitted the times when she's lied or she's done something that was too far. Y'all still trying to hold on to season 9. We are in season 17. We are in season 17. Pinky and Kelly, if you want to be a fan of the show, y'all can stay at home and be a fan and watch the show like the rest of us. Or y'all can come into work and actually give us some real, raw, authentic storylines and some real and raw, authentic things that are going on in your life. I felt, Phaedra finally clocked in. Cynthia, you know what I'm saying, had a new song, all of this and all of that. Kelly keeps jumping into everybody else's stuff because she doesn't have anything going on for herself. You know what I'm saying? And it's really crazy to me that the same woman in Phaedra that helped you in terms of what was going on with your ex-husband and your kids not being able to film and helping you get back child support from your ex, and you're going to switch up on Phaedra like that at the reunion and talking about and y'all want to throw that joke line, like y'all and Pinky want to throw the joke around, win a case. But has anybody actually looked up Phaedra's actual legal record of all the cases that she's been assigned to? Or are you just paying attention to the fact that Sheree was being delulu and not listening to Phaedra's instructions when she represented her, and also with Bobby Brown, looking at the fact that he had issues as well. He was not paying child support and had a DUI. But y'all don't want to talk about that. So, anyways, the biggest bomb for me is the lies of Shamea. I am glad that Porsha said it straight, that her only comment was really, with the whole Charles Oakley situation, was all she said was she wanted to F Charles. She said she owned it, she took accountability, and she immediately apologized to Angela Oakley. She says she's been quiet this whole time. She's been sick of people trying to make her the face of that incident when Kelly was talking cash S-H-I-T and Shamea was talking cash H-I-T. And Angela said she has proof. Remember, she recorded the whole thing. Remember, her room was right by where they were all partying and having a good time. So, but all Shamea and Porsha does is they just lie. They call her a liar, or, accuse her of, you know what I'm saying, try to talk over her and try to shut her up, and it gets to a point. So Shamea went from saying all the time that Charles Oakley's outside, Charles Oakley's got a side baby and all this and all that, to now saying she don't know him. But Angela Oakley was trying to say, listen, look at here. Charles Oakley and Dominique Wilkins have seen you outside. Dominique Wilkins, who is an Atlanta Hawks legend, and her husband Charles Oakley have both seen you outside, but Angela Oakley would not reveal who her source is in terms of who actually is alleging the NBA players and any other players that Shamea allegedly is sleeping with. Everybody can't be lying on Shamea as far as I'm concerned. Whether it is how she treats these alleged friendships, whether it is multiple housewives past and present on this show that have alleged that Shamea has at the minimum have been stepping out on her husband, stepping out on all these people and all this and all that. Everybody can't be lying or making something up here. I also clocked when Porsha and Kelly were getting into it because Kelly was trying to throw in these little jabs, and I love when Kelly was trying to hold Phaedra accountable, which was weird because she helped you with your legal issues and everything else. And was like, well, you know, I don't understand how you could just quickly forgive the person that got you fired in season 9. And Porsha was like, well, I'm glad you watched all the episodes. You're welcome. You're a fan. You're a fan, you're not a housewife. And that is the problem with the right side of the couch. Y'all coming in as fans and not as housewives. Y'all coming in as trigger fingers, you know what I'm saying, from the TV at home, instead of giving us something as housewives for us to back you, for us to root for you. Pinky, I just don't know what she was trying to do this reunion. It made zero sense to me, right? It made absolute zero sense to me, her approach. And when Phaedra said that she had radioactive burgers, and when Phaedra said as well that, listen, look at here, I'll put my checking account up against anybody up in this couch. The one thing about Phaedra you can't say, a couple things you can't say about her, we have not ever seen her in the news or any of the blogs or any of the TMZs of it all about her losing any houses, about her having any issues financially, owing money to the IRS, living above her means, you know what I'm saying, needing to do a whole garage sale on it all, you know what I'm saying, but because the funds were low. And Andy was like, we never had to check bank accounts before and everything else. Maybe we should start. But because what is this broke energy? What is this broke energy and people pretending to be something that they are not? That they are not. And I'm trying to think what else was something else before I get to the main thing of what I want to talk about, which is the plot and the scheme that fell a second season in a row by Shamea and Friends, you guys. By Shamea and Friends. So there was a heated conversation between K.Michelle and Shamea, you guys. And what happened was, apparently, allegedly, a week before the reunion, they had a sit down. And by they, I mean 3/4 of the Shamea alliance that is sitting on the right side of the couch, which would include Shamea, Kelly, and K.Michelle. And Cynthia Bailey immediately clocked it and was like, oh, y'all were having a pre-reunion meeting. Y'all were having a pre-reunion meeting so that y'all could sort out which lies y'all want to tell and what stories y'all want to be on the same page about and everything else. It seems like Shamea and Kelly's strategy was to just yell over on top of everyone, instead of giving actual facts and giving actual reads and bring up things from yesteryear as a point to make your argument. No. So basically, Shamea and K.Michelle had a conversation at this sit down where Shamea wanted to revisit what happened on the show when K.Michelle had that sit down with Pinky about her mom and them at the club. And Shamea does not like how her mom is being portrayed or how her mom is being represented. But Shamea, you're the one that keeps inserting your mother into the show. You want your mom to be a peach so bad, it's giving weird. It is giving weird. First, she is randomly there front and center at Kelly's Nana's Chicken and Waffles for the location that was closed. I think she was there for Porsha, but instead, y'all had to settle for Drew Sidora since Porsha had the right discernment not to show up. and y'all try to have that little, whatever that was with Drew Sidora and your mom. And then multiple people, you know what I'm saying? But because it's also K.Michelle's ex from that TV show, that he was there, that K.Michelle was there, that Shamea, that her mom was there, all this and all that. And y'all are sitting up there squeezing her hand, saying that she has to be loyal to the soil, that she has to be loyal to Shamea no matter what. And then Shamea throws shade and some stragglers. You know what I'm saying? Some other people get hit. She says, well, my other friends are trash. Is that shade to the Candy Coated Clique? Is that shade to, Manetta and Rashida and Toya? Like, who are you saying of the quote-unquote Atlanta circle are trash friends? And this is what I'm saying. It's like, why would you even repeat that? If you know that you're mutuals with somebody and not everybody is going to like that particular mutual, you already knew Candy and Friends did not like K.Michelle and did not see it for K.Michelle. So why would you even bring that up unless you want to be the one to brag that you have that connect to Candy, that you have that connect to K.Michelle's ops, such as Toya, such as Rashida. It's giving blackmail. It is giving blackmail, you guys. It is given, listen, look at here. I've got access to the quote-unquote mean girls of Atlanta, but if you rock with me on this show, if you stay loyal to me on this show, you know what I'm saying? I won't disparage you. I won't talk cash shit about you. No. That's not how this is going to work. This is not how this is going to work. And what happened with K.Michelle is by y'all having all these pre-show meetings, it already kind of put a negative thought in her mind about some of the ladies on the show that she had to deprogram, because she realized that as the show was filming, that all the things that y'all said about Porsha wasn't materializing. All those preconceived notions that K.Michelle had about Phaedra wasn't materializing. And so now, those crash outs, those paranoia, that schizophrenic behavior, the voices in K.Michelle's head that was taking place in the first half of the season, I believe was orchestrated by Shamea. And by extension of that, her mom. And my thing with Shamea is this. You have no current issues with Porsha other than she does not want to entertain your friendship anymore. Last season, you were talking about her behind her back to the other housewives off camera, and you got upset that they exposed it on camera. That you never really got over your issues, but you didn't want to be the one to bring it up. You didn't want to be the one to expose it, because at the same token, you wanted the same opportunities and perks that it is to be cool with Porsha, which means access to the best room on the Nashville trip last season, which means sitting next to Porsha in first class on the plane and everything else, getting all the perks that Porsha has access to via Bravo. But it was not genuine on Shamea's part that she let that friendship go a long time ago. And her mother have long-standing resentment of Porsha and her mama Diane that Porsha and mama Diane wasn't privy to. And so Shamea also lied about going on V103 last week and alleging that there was a housewife that was trying to fight her, and that the housewife she wanted fired from the show was the one that tried to kick her ASS, and everybody assumed on the internet that it was Porsha that was going to risk her check, that was going to risk all of her opportunities and everything else, and get into a fist fight, fisticuffs with Shamea. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. But Shamea knew what she was doing, trying to put out that narrative. But this is multiple times that Shamea has inflated a situation, and once the real story comes out, the math is not mathing. So last season, she went on a press tour against Britt Eady and made it seem as though Britt Eady said something horrible and deplorable about her special needs child, when that was not the case. What happened was, when they were off camera in Miami for something, and they were all expected to head back, and Shamea refused to go home to be with her family. And Britt Eady made some type of comment basically like, why are you never home? Why are you never home with your family? Why are you never home with your kids? Make it make sense. And so then, you guys, Shamea demonstrates to Kelly what she perceived to be K.Michelle being aggressive because they were disagreeing on their accounts of various conversations and plotting that they had and everything else. And so Shamea gets up and basically says that, K.Michelle basically had her hand in the fist, like basically, saying like, doing different hand gestures and standing up. And then K.Michelle also apparently hit the table a couple of times, but nothing escalated to violence. This was all an off-camera incident. So Kelly is directly asked, was there an altercation? Was there aggression? Was there violence on K.Michelle's part to Shamea? Kelly, since you are there, since you are a witness. And K.Michelle, and everybody's looking at Kelly. Kelly, you are on the spotlight. This is your bestie, Shamea. This is your landlord. What you got to say? Listen. K.Michelle, everybody's looking. You know what I'm saying? Time is of the essence, Kelly. Confirm what Shamea is saying. That K.Michelle was so aggressive. She was doing this, and this. You were right there. Tell us that is true. That K.Michelle did all these things that Shamea is accusing of her of. And Kelly was like, listen, look at here. Not too much. I don't recall that being the case. I'm not going to speak on it. No. What? What do you mean you're not going to speak on it? What? We've completely lost the plot. Isn't that your bestie? So that tells me right then and there, the real reason you do not want to speak on the K.Michelle and Shamea situation of it all is because you know that y'all had a plot and a plan. And that was to take down Porsha. Because K.Michelle also reveals that in the midst of all of this, that they were calling Porsha and her mama all types of Jezebels. And all of this and all of that. And Porsha, the whole left side of the couch is like, what the welly, Anse, what? And Porsha's pissed because she's like, keep my name out your effing mouth at this point. Keep my name, my mama's name. And Shamea, you repeating the same things that somebody says back to you is not a read. It's literally you recalling the last word someone else said and then trying to throw it back to them as if you're doing something. You're not witty. You don't have, that type of, that's what I'm saying. You think people are just being a hater or being negative when they say that you're not a fit for the show. But the reality is you keep embarrassing yourself in your desperation for fame, and it keeps flopping. It keeps failing. So Shamea's upset that Porsha believes what K.Michelle is saying, but for all intents and purposes, Shamea and her mom have been obsessed with Porsha. And Andy Cohen's even like, we need to keep the moms out of it, and here goes Shamea, I wish we could. And Shamea, you brought the moms to the show in the first place. People keep talking about what Porsha's mom said to Mama Diane about worry about the dog that brings the bone, but it was Shamea that did this first. You had that conversation with Cynthia Bailey, and basically you are so pressed to push this Porsha's mom's a bad friend narrative, Porsha's a bad friend narrative, so y'all need to prefer me and my mom compared to Porsha and her mom. And that's not how this is going to work. This is your first time last season as a peach holder. We know Porsha, the good, bad, and the ugly. We do not know you. We just knew you as a friend of, and the messy situations you did to get camera time. But this notion and your need to continue to put down Porsha and her mom to lift yourself and your mom up is not landing. And you think because you have a rich husband in the mansion that automatically makes you more likable. But your spirit is nasty. Your spirit is negative. And that's why the audience isn't rocking with it. That's why the audience isn't feeling it. You know what I'm saying? And so ultimately, you're mad that Porsha believed K.Michelle, but it is no different than what the other housewives have told Porsha in the past, that you're always running your mouth. But because it's not always caught on camera, Shamea, you want to call everyone else a liar. But you're the lie. And production let you know that you say a lot of lies on camera. They showed a lot of flashback clips where you take no accountability. Just like you claimed you apologized to Angela Oakley, they ran the tape. There was no apology. And so ultimately, you're calling K.Michelle a liar about your mom and, y'all talking Porsha all types of Jezebels and her mom. But K.Michelle was like, if I'm lying, why did your mom get on FaceTime with your dad at the club? What club was this that y'all are doing all of this? That y'all have time to plot and scheme like this? You know what I'm saying? Instead of having a good time with adult beverages and dancing and you know what I'm saying, and mingling, who has time to do all of this out in public? That is insane to me. So K.Michelle says, if I'm lying, why did your mom FaceTime your father to talk about some type of incident where Mama Diane needed her pipes fixed or she was going to go fix somebody's, like somebody needed their pipes fixed or whatever the case may be. And I'm like, what in the H-E-double-L? What does this have to do with Porsha? What does this have to do with having an issue with Porsha? And it's just giving y'all grasping at straws. Y'all are grasping at straws. And the whole time, Angela Oakley is like, listen, look here, because they had just moved forward with some fake apologies to each other about the alleged cheating allegations. And here goes Angela Oakley. She was like, my discernment was right about Shamea. My discernment had been right about this chick as to why we are not going to be friends out here. Because this is how you moving behind the scenes. You are that upset and that pressed over Porsha that y'all are having planning sessions, you know what I'm saying, calling Porsha and her mom Jezebels and everything else, but it's relating to nothing. It's relating to nothing current as far as what y'all issue is. Why should Porsha be the face of whatever issue Shamea's mom has? And my thing is this, as long as Porsha's mom has been on this show, she has never infiltrated herself into any issues with the girls, or even when Shamea was a friend of and her mom, like it's never been a thing. Porsha's family has never inserted themselves into the mess. But for whatever reason, Shamea and her mom want to be a part of the mess, and she wants her mom to be a peach so bad, but because it's getting backlash and because of the way that her mom is being portrayed, now all of a sudden she wants to go grab her ball and go home. But you keep thinking that you have something amazing, you have some type of bombshell that's going to shake the table, and it keeps backfiring. Just like I saw, there's going to be a preview for next week where Shamea is going to bring, I'm sure, these old text messages where Porsha said she didn't want Shamea on the show or wanted her to be a friend of, but that was already discussed. This already happened back when she was married to Cordell and going through her divorce. You can't say anything with the last couple of years. The last couple of years, you have a page. So what is this trying to achieve? And Andy Cohen already confirmed that Porsha did call him and advocate for you to have a page. So is Andy Cohen a liar? Is Andy lying? Are you telling Andy that he's lying and that Porsha put him up to say that? Like, I don't understand what Shamea's objective is, but it's just not a good reunion for her at all. And the fact that she wants to come back a third season is insane. Like I said, Bravo is going to have to be the ones to actually remove Shamea off this show. I actually think that they'll keep Kelly because Kelly is cheaper to keep her. But ultimately, Shamea, you got to go. You got to go because you're not understanding the assignment. And ultimately, Porsha even put out another threat. And it shut Shamea up so fast. So I've come to the conclusion already that I believe the story that Kelly was out here in the streets with some married pastor, some married Nigerian pastor, allegedly at the BET Awards last year, but she was not the only one. Because allegedly, according to Porsha, she was like, Shamea, if you keep interrupting me and Kelly's conversation, I'm going to expose what you did at the BET Awards as well. And for those who are not putting two and two together, Porsha's not referring to this year's BET Awards because this year's BET Awards taped after the reunion, right? Porsha is specifically referring to last year's BET Awards in which there was no Gerald present. And Shamea and Kelly were out there allegedly running amok out here. Listen, there is a reason why Shamea latches on to these friendships the way that she does, and certain behaviors that are questionable the way she does. That is why her and Porsha were thick as thieves. But y'all only see Porsha as the bad guy. Y'all refuse to see Shamea as the bad guy. Y'all refuse to see Shamea is messy too, is conniving as well, is a backstabber, is a liar as well, because y'all have not had access to her as a peach. But I noticed y'all were quiet on the creek the way she was getting whacked and exposed in part 2 of the reunion. Y'all ain't had no smoke then. All of a sudden y'all were on mute because you knew you couldn't defend the indefensible. But I peeped it where Porsha was like, I will expose you too. And I noticed Gerald all of a sudden is making more public appearances with his wife. Because apparently the narrative is out there that the more Shamea is going on these solo trips, that it's not for work, it's not for business, but it's for extracurricular activities. And they also brought up Shamea's job at the Atlanta Hawks. And I'm here to tell you, I know people who have that job with other NBA teams, and the pay is not all that, you guys. The pay is not what y'all think it is. You know what I'm saying? In customer service, at Burger King, at Wendy's, you can make more shmoney. At Taco Bell, you know what I'm saying? At Panda Express, you can make more shmoney. What the purpose of that job is exposure. What the purpose of that job is exposure. Now, they have, agreements and clauses in place that you're not supposed to be fraternizing with the players, certain people, this and that. But what I was picking up from what Angela Oakley was putting down is that's allegedly what was taking place. That Shamea, I don't know if y'all remember that scene, but allegedly, according to some people affiliated with Charles Oakley, that Shamea purposefully would stay after the games, after whatever was taking place, because there's some after party shenanigans that allegedly go deep. And Shamea basically made a comment along the lines of, well, I like to please my customers. No. But it went over everyone's head. It went over everyone's head when Shamea said it, because she low-key is confirming Angela Oakley's tea. The problem is Shamea does not want the public to know that if it is true that she is stepping out on her husband, she does not want to be labeled. She does not want to be dragged. She does not want to be exposed. She wants to allegedly do her thing in peace. But y'all can't be sitting up here calling other people in the cast all types of SLUTs and 304s and everything else, and your skeletons are daring to come out of the closet. I peeped Porsha's face when Andy was asking around if certain housewives ever dipped in the lady pond. And when Shamea said no, and all she did was kiss and feel up on somebody, Porsha's face told me that's a lie. That is a lie. You know what I'm saying? But because y'all know Porsha for so long on this show, and because she has been caught in multiple lies on this show, y'all refuse to believe that Neil, and particularly these past couple of seasons, she's actually telling the truth about things. Y'all can't fathom that because y'all still holding on to season 9. Y'all still holding on to the past seasons of it all. But all these housewives lie. All of these housewives lie. So ultimately, they're just trying to hope that you're dumb enough not to figure out who actually is telling the truth in the situation. And Kelly and Shamea have miscalculated the number of Porsha haters are always going to that there's always going to be way more Porsha supporters that are going to outweigh, the Twitter echo chamber of Porsha haters. You know what I'm saying? And they thought that they were going to do their big one, and they're getting drug up and through here. They are getting drug up and through here. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Oh, the only other thing I want to say about K.Michelle is this. My issue with K.Michelle is that I believe you in the Shamea of it all. I believe what you're saying. But my problem with you is that when all of this happened, before filming even began, You sat there during this whole exchange with Shamea's mom, Shamea, and Shamea's father, talking all this crazy shit about Porsha and Porsha's mom and everything else. But then we fast forward to Scotland, and that is when you start to distance yourself from Shamea, and basically you felt that that was too far to put something like that out there on camera and everything else, and wanted nothing to do with Shamea. My thing is, why didn't you have the discernment that night to not move forward with Shamea? Unless you were going in expecting to think that Porsha was all of the horrible things that Shamea and her mom said, and because that didn't happen for you, you realize you got played. But my thing is, that should have told you about Shamea's character from jump, that she has a one-sided obsession. Her and her mom have a whole obsession that goes beyond this show with Porsha and her mom that is unhealthy. That is completely and utterly unhealthy. And you still wanted to align with this woman, knowing at some point she was going to freak out on camera and do something wild like this. And then once it finally happens, that was your cue to pivot and distance yourself. And then ultimately, because the alliance could not stay aligned at that dinner a week before the reunion, y'all had a falling out. And Neil, y'all can't, you know what I'm saying? You're not rocking with her. Now K.Michelle is showing all this love to Porsha. Now K.Michelle is showing all this love to Porsha. It is reposting all of the pictures of Porsha and Phaedra together saying, I love y'all so much, and I love Cynthia Bailey as well. That is calculated. That is strategic. You know what I'm saying? Because that is direct shade to Shamea. But ultimately, if y'all watch the show and y'all watch last season with Shamea, why would y'all align with her in the first place? This is the second season in a row. Shamea is trying to create an alliance to cause division and cause discord in hopes to take down Porsha, and nobody sees it, right? Because, you know, the objective was to get the vets out. So y'all successfully had got Kenya out last season, newbies, and now y'all acting like newbies again this season, and y'all were trying to take down Porsha and Angela Oakley. And it flopped and it failed, you guys. So ultimately, that's all I have for this video. I want to hear from you guys in the comments. I want to hear from y'all. I want to know what y'all think. I need y'all to do me the biggest favor, and that is to hype the video. Hype the video, please. Hype the video like you never hyped a video before in your life. There is that. That is it. That is all. It's totus es final. It's finito. Is he in the road? Is he in the line for this video? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you're notified the moment I post the content on my channel. And with that being said, I'll talk to you guys again very soon.